like to call to order the October 18th City Council meeting. When we stand for the moment of silence, please be thinking of those, obviously we're wearing pink for a reason. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so please be thinking of those who have lost the battle and those that are currently fighting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Mr. Doss, could you please call the roll? Sit on my...
Probably need to excuse two people first.
Oh, first?
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to excuse Mr. Redmond and Mr. Parrish? So moved.
Second.
Call the roll. Mr. Mitchell? Here. Ms. Cooper?
Here.
Ms. Russell?
Here.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Here.
Ms. Evans? Yeah, you did a roll call. Well, we're fine. We're good. Sorry.
We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. That takes us to proceedings. Do I have a motion to adopt the proceedings from the October 4th council meeting?
So move.
Second.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell? Yes. Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
And everyone should have received the September 22 finance report. Do I have a motion that we receive that?
So move. Second.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell? Yes. Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
All right, and that brings us to our public comment section. It looks like we have some audience members who would like to make a comment. Please come to the podium and state your name and address if you would like to speak. Welcome. I don't know if the mic on, Mr. Doss, actually.
No, I don't
Can you
think so.
grab it? All right, we're going to turn the microphone on for you. We forgot that step.
You gotta hit the button.
Ms. Bain is not here and the world falls apart.
Yep, we're good.
Is it on?
I thought I heard him tap it.
Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My vision has gotten to the point that I can't read things on the paper unless it's really big.
Okay.
So I'm having my computer read it for me.
Right, can you state your name real quick first
Address, yeah.
and address?
It does it on here.
Oh, okay, perfect.
My name is Rebecca Geiger, and I live at 30 Susan Circle, Apartment 5, Milford, Ohio 45150. You may remember me speaking at a few city council meetings. You may remember the letter I wrote in gratitude for the crosswalk signs you put in so many locations, which continue to help many Milford residents, whether they have a visual impairment or not. You may also remember me because you've seen me taking walks. I am standing here to say I am capable and independent. I'm standing here before you to say I have been trained by the Cincinnati Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired, CAVBI, on how to safely cross at crosswalks. I'm standing here before you to say I can do everything right and use all the tools I have to independently take a walk and still not be safe. I also stand here before you to be seen and to represent all others with disabilities. I stand here before you to say that we are important. We are important to our families. We are important to our friends. We are also important to our communities, and our safety is important. I I'm standing here before you to say I know the city of Milford can do better. Because you have in the past. I would like for you to close your eyes and experience a guided meditation. It should only take a minute or two. Take a deep breath and close your eyes. Think of standing at a crosswalk. You can hear the sounds of the traffic. The cars, the trucks, the motorcycles, the bicyclists. You can feel the sun and slight breeze on your face and arms. You can hear birds chirping in a nearby tree. You start to notice the rotating traffic patterns. How some cars near you stop, while other traffic goes by you. You take a few more deep breaths while telling yourself that you are safe. You know you're around. You've worked hard at memorizing traffic patterns. You walk this route often. You rely on the training you have received from CAVVI at this crosswalk. You trust the drivers see you because you are cognizant when you take your walks. The traffic on your right has started to go. The traffic on your left has stopped, meaning it is safe to cross. You take a breath while your train tells you this is a safe time to enter the crosswalk. You tell yourself you are safe as you step off the curb and into the crosswalk. Suddenly your right cane hits the side of a car's tire. The driver is choosing to turn right on red while not being mindful of pedestrians about to venture into the crosswalk. Or you start to cross in the crosswalk and are almost to the other side when your right cane taps the side of your tire. The driver is pulled up and stopped in the crosswalk. We're waiting to turn right on red. The driver calmly says, "Go on ahead," as you as a pedestrian are engulfed in panic, unable to move. Since the city of Milford is working on building a clock tower, and at a cost of over $7 million for the benefit of its residents, this would be a perfect time to include audible crosswalks so that everyone can be safe. I called Capital Electric Line Builders in Dayton, Ohio, and asked about audible crosswalks. The gentleman I spoke with told me that it would only cost approximately $500 up to $1,000, which is a small price to pay for the safety of our residents. I would like to see audible crosswalks at 3 different locations. Rooster Pike, Route 50, near the bike trail. One audible crosswalk here will take care of 2 crosswalks. Lila, Route 50, Cemetery Street by McDonald's. And 2 audible crosswalks at 5 points. In a perfect world, the 3 busiest crosswalks at 5 points would have audible crosswalks. Main Lila, Center Street, and Route 28 Main, Route 50 Lima. These audible crosswalks will take the guesswork out of when it is safe to cross. The pedestrian is an audible verification that it is their turn to cross. Pedestrians are more confident when crossing a crosswalk, making it safer for both the pedestrian and the motorist. This will not guarantee that a pedestrian is completely safe in a crosswalk. It does, however, offer one more layer of protection. I look forward to taking your walk with any city council member. It doesn't have to be alone. It would enlighten you to the difficulties they face daily on walks.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. And
help get the audible crosswalks.
Right, thank you. Every time I see you walking, I think about how brave you are. And we have a budget meeting next Tuesday, so I'm sure this will be a topic of discussion. That might be a boring one, but you're welcome to. No, I'm sure this will be a topic of discussion.
Yeah.
So thank you for all that information.
Thank you, Rebecca.
All right, is there anyone else from the public that wishes to make a comment? Hello, welcome.
My name is Matt Weissman. You guys have known me with two different organizations. The first organization was the Judy and John Ruffman Foundation. We funded the mural along Route 50. I also owned the business Wildlife International, which was the John Ruffman studio that was part of the many RFPs that went out for the bank building. And my first, just basic couple of comments. The first, I have obviously be thrilled with how the mural turned out and people that are coming to the city, and all of a sudden now there's like more murals coming out, and we feel like that kind of started like a little movement. And obviously that's one of the most major murals that Artworks has done to date, and there's hundreds, and you see Blink and all these things. And when we talked about it and we had everything done, the couple of items I was just requesting, pretty simple, just some maintenance items. When the signs got put back in, first and foremost, all the signs are directly in the middle of the actual image. So when you drive by, like there's the sign to Jim Terrell was literally smack dab in the middle of the last image. They can be moved like 2 feet up. It doesn't, wouldn't mess with any of the signs or the signage of where to go. The speed limit signs in the middle of one. So just moving them like in between where the pillars are. I just think it would be like, this is an amazing mural, something that was there. I just think to have the full image be shown, I think that's a reasonable request on that. That'd be awesome. And you can see where I'm talking. When you go see it, you'll see what I'm talking about and where they can go.
Okay.
Obviously, if you're gonna, speed limit sign 50 feet up doesn't, isn't a good thing, but it's only a few feet. The second item was just another maintenance. I think Mr. Michael and I talked about a couple items where the bottom has gotten so dirty that I was hoping, and I'll even come out there and help clean it. I don't care. But ultimately, maybe there's like a way to put I think we talked about maybe some gravel or something there to.
So it's not splash.
The rain doesn't splash, yeah.
The thing, it's like something along those lines.
Makes sense.
That would also be something good. Again, nothing major here, but just thought I'd bring it up. And then the last one was there was talks of having some lighting put on the tops of them, which I think would be a really cool addition to it. I think that was the very beginning. Things cost money, but obviously if there's quotes and things like that, we'd be happy to look into even assisting with that. I just think it's such a unique, cool thing to add to the city. I think those items could be considered and keeping that thing in the best shape it can be. And we did a lot of actual maintenance repair to it. I think a lot of the 120,000 or so that was put into it, a lot of it was to actually stabilize and fix some of the big chunks out of the wall and things like that. So we kind of contributed to Milford in that regard as well. So just those were a couple of items that I had on that.
Right.
I have one other question,
Yes.
if you don't mind. If I going back to, again, we were part of the RFP for the bank building and on multiple occasions, and we withdrew ourselves on the last one simply because we had to just we moved on. We have to make some decisions for our business.
Okay.
Well, since then I've had calls from Craig Cole, Lori Howland, some other former mayors that had they reached out to me and said there was some interest. Their group was interested in they said they wanted to make sure that we were still interested in that building. Well, and then a couple of weeks after that, I got word that because we said, well, of course, if the building is still available, the John Ruffman studio is truly one of the most unique retail establishments in the country. He was one of the most decorated, if not the most decorated artist in American history. And he has one of the best murals, and his studio would be literally the home. Milford would be the home of his artwork. And so they wanted to make sure that we would still be interested if it came back to fruition, and we said, of course. Well, then I got an email, a week later saying that the building is going to be demolished. So is there any truth to the building being demolished? Is there going to be a fourth RFP? I mean, because, my stance is John Ruthven Studio is definitely worth more than 8 to 10 parking spots. So, I just kind of wanted to find out where that stands and how we might be able to reapproach that. It's been almost, going on
A long
3 years
time.
now. Our business could have gone in, for the record, we made council a full offer of $300,000 for that building. And we offered first right of refusal for that building, to sell the building back to Milford if we weren't going to if we didn't make it. So those were all things that we approached Milford about, and obviously there's other, I think $300,000 to the city and taxpayers is worth more than 8 parking spots, and I think that the Judy or the Ruthven Studio would bring an enormous amount of people that don't already come to Milford. And that's the whole idea behind Milford and what makes Milford great is to have people that might come from all over to come to different stores that you have, not just bars. I think that's important when you're growing a city and at the trajectory that Milford is at this time. So, just curious if there's any answers.
No plans that I know of to tear it down. I think we're kind of in a holding pattern. I don't know if you want me to speak, Mr. Dawes, if you want to speak, but kind of holding off a little bit to see what happens when the distillery opens with parking and all of that, and then pick up a discussion again in the next few months.
Okay.
So,
So it's definitely not
add to that.
doing
That's not our decision at the moment, no.
So there's no, is that in talks? Is that even like a?
It depends on which RFP we would go with, because some of them obviously would, but we haven't made that decision yet, so. The other sums it up, I guess, kind of. So like I said, we just said we've not made this decision yet because we're kind of waiting to see what happens when everything else opens downtown and what the chaos on parking are going to look like. So,
Just so you know, like our.
yeah, so you're still interested, that's good to know.
Well, yeah, we're a day business.
Sure.
We're not taking parking up from anybody else.
Right.
We are, all we're gonna do is contribute significantly our fair. I mean, that's a huge opportunity to increase that popularity and to use our foundation to increase the prize money and bring other types of artists and things like that. But ultimately, we would still be interested, but like I said, I just wanted to make sure that that was on record. If the building was getting torn down, I wanted to get on record that we did make that full offer to council and the city of Milford. So,
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll definitely check on those
Thanks,
maintenance
Matt.
items.
Thanks.
Those all sound very reasonable. Thank you. All right, anybody else? I don't see anybody else in the public. Oh, yes, you want to speak? I'll say go ahead. Sorry.
Hank Rowe, 750 US 50. Good evening. I'm just here with Matt. I want to support Matt if that, goes in the direction of the building safe and you want a least invasive, if that's the word, parking, use with him and his grandfather's studio. I think that'd be a great addition. It's something that's going to bring in people outside of the community. It's more so than just, I know there were some other established businesses wanting to also use that building, so you're bringing in some fresh blood. You're not just kind of repeating something that's already here. Has there been any other advances on any additional parking beyond just, the current situation with the public parking on that same piece of property? Are there any other remote areas that parking's being considered? And I had the same report that Matt had about that potentially being demolished, 6 or 8 parking spaces being.
I mean, I don't think we would ever have a plan of tearing it down just for a few more parking spots. The only reason it would be torn down is if we went with one of the developer RFPs.
Sure.
Like I said, we haven't made that decision.
Yeah.
Been trying to educate people on parking at Riverside Park. There's like a couple hundred spots there,
Yeah.
but it's 3 blocks away, so
It's
getting cold.
Communities around greater Cincinnati, they understand that because it's been a
Right.
parking problem for so, Oakley or Hyde Park. That
Right.
You gotta figure out, you gotta walk a few blocks to get there. And
Right.
I think in due time that'll happen, but not as quickly as need it to.
Right, right.
And then just switching gears, I was wondering if there's any update on Five Points Park project that's being sent.
Yes.
I can actually give you an update on
Yes.
that. That should be going out for bid next month.
Okay.
So just kind of keep your eyes open for that. I
Ground
think-
vacancy.
yeah, we-
Phases, I think you mentioned before.
The first phase is basically the placement of the entire park, less the extension of the pavilion. So there'll be, in phase one, there's a portion of the pavilion which will be concessionary area and restrooms. And then there'll be like a 150-person pavilion in phase two. And then phase three is a clock tower, and that's nowhere on the radar right now at this point.
Is that at the tip of the point?
The clock tower will be, yes.
All right, sounds good, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the public that would wish to make a comment? All right, seeing none, that takes us to standing committee reports. Vice Mayor Russell?
Okay, had an Administrative Service Committee meeting held on October 17th at 4:32. Present was Lisa Evans, Kim Chamberlain, and myself, Sandy Russell. Staff, City Manager Michael Doss. No visitors. There was approval. We approved the proceedings from the October 3rd, 2022 Administrative Service Committee committee minutes. Then we got into a discussion on the 2023 Fire and EMS Service Contract. Mr. Doss presented the proposed 2023 Service Contract Committee. Mr. Doss, the contract is for a one-year term, and the amount of the annual contract for services provided by the Milford Community Fire Department. The proposed contract increased from $2,625,000 in 2022 to $2,825,000 for 2023. Mr. Doss noted that the increase of $200,000 represents capital equipment and apparatus acquisitions planned for the Milford Community Fire Department in 2023. The proposed contract terms of 1 year were agreed upon by Chief Baird and Mr. Doss to account for uncertain economic changes potentially impacting the local economy next year. So without further committee discussion, the committee agreed to recommend that the law director draft an ordinance authorizing the City of Milford to contract with the Milford Community Fire Department, Inc. for the fire and EMS medical service. Second.
Yes. Ms. Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ms. Russell,
Yes.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Ms. Evans.
Then we had a discussion on the Urban Canopy Restoration Grant Program. Mr. Doss discussed a grant application for the Ohio Department of Natural Resources Division of Forestry Urban Canopy Restoration Grant Program. Mr. Doss indicated the grant was submitted last Friday, but required legislation in the form of a resolution from the city indicating support for the grant application and program. Mr. Doss noted that if funded, the funds would be used to purchase trees for planting in Greenlawn Cemetery, Riverside Park Hillside, and near the riverbank at Jonas Memorial Park. The total grant amount requested is $7,500, with the city providing an in-kind match for labor and maintenance and a financial contribution of $5,000. Mr. Doss stated that the city should receive notification of the grant award in a couple of weeks. So without further committee discussion, committee agreed to recommend that the law director draft a resolution authorizing the city to make application to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources Division of Forestry Urban Canopy Restoration Grant Program. That's a mouthful.
It is.
So second?
Second.
Ms. Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Ms. Russell.
Yes.
Ms. Cooper.
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell.
Yes.
There being no further business, the meeting was adjourned at 4:39 with the motion from Ms. Chamberlain, seconded by Ms. Evans. Mrs. Evans.
All right, thank you, Vice Mayor Russell. That takes us to the city manager report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Brief report this evening. Five Points Landing Park update is kind of already hit on a little bit. Remind the public, there will be a groundbreaking for the park scheduled for Monday, November the 14th at 4 p.m. Just letting the public know, we're going to put that out to the public since our voters were gracious enough to pass a levy for this park. We want to have everybody involved in that celebration and that groundbreaking. City officials met with MSP Engineering on Monday to finalize all the gory details for the project prior to building. We went through everything from lighting to tile to all of that. So it was a very, very comprehensive, extensive meeting, but necessary, of course. The city does anticipate, again, the park project will be complete and fully operational by Labor Day weekend of next year. That's our goal. Jim Terrell Park Canoe and Kayak launch update. The city is expected to hear news from the T-Mobile Hometown Grant Program for Jim Terrell Park and the Canoe and Kayak launch. Just a reminder, we requested $50,000 for that project. We should hear that at any time. If we are awarded that, all of the expenses for that project will be paid for. We got some money from the state of Ohio. We received money from the Community Development Block Grant. If we get this $50,000, that will meet our budget amount for that project. 2023 Claremont County Paving Program, we did submit that letter of interest. Ed and I are meeting next week with a representative from the engineer's office to go over that paving list. We wanted to cross-reference that with our pavement management study that we did about a year and a half ago to make sure that we're focusing on those areas that scored low, that need improvements or need resurfacing. So we're putting that plan to work. Standing committee meetings, there are none at this time. Reminder, October 25th, next week, is our 2023 budget meeting that will start at 5 o'clock. I believe Jackie's taking care of some refreshments. So, and then November 1st is our next city council meeting at 7.
All right, thank you very much. I believe there's no police report tonight, but I think I saw Chief Nickel back behind the pole.
Good evening. I
Evening.
believe you guys report for September, I believe, tonight. Appreciate that. Just a couple things. This past Saturday, we did a joint training with Terrace Park. We usually do it twice a year, lifeguard training. It's 11 cents per hour. It was very good. It was enjoyed by all, so it's always good to do that with mutual aid neighbors. And also, it's that time of year, December 18th is Santa Sunday. So, look for the fire truck. We normally start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So, Santa Sunday, be there, hear the kids, it's always fun.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so that brings us to council comments. Anyone from council wanting to make a comment?
I just had a question. Is voting not the first Tuesday, or is it the second?
It's the
It's
8th.
second
The
Tuesday.
eighth, the second.
Yes, the 8th.
But sometimes we have
Yeah,
to
no,
miss our
sometimes it's
meeting. That's why I was
such a
like
meeting,
looking at the.
Yeah, that is
calendar.
correct,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, that takes us to new businesses, ordinances, and resolutions. Check it out.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance authorizing the city of Milford to contract with the Milford Community Fire Department, Inc. for fire and emergency medical service. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Municipality of Milford, Ohio, Section 1. The Council of the City of Milford hereby authorizes the city manager to enter into and execute the contract with the Milford Community Fire Department, Inc., whereby the Milford Community Fire Department will provide fire and emergency medical protection services to the city of Milford for a period beginning January 1, 2023, and ending December 31, 2023, for the contract amount of $2,825,000. The terms and conditions of said contract are made a part hereof and are incorporated herein as if fully rewritten herein pursuant to and in accordance with Section 12.03 of the Milford City Charter. Section 2, pursuant to and in accordance with Section 12.05 of the Milford City Charter, comma, I don't know why I said comma, this ordinance shall be effective immediately upon its passage by City Council, adopted October 18, 2022.
Move to suspend the rules and read by title only?
Second?
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
I read that again, correct? An ordinance authorizing, just by title,
yeah.
an ordinance authorizing the city of Milford to contract with the Milford Community Fire Department, Inc. for the fire and emergency medical service.
Motion to adopt?
Second?
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
All right, and then we have Resolution 22-640, a resolution authorizing the city to make application to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Division of Forestry's Urban Canopy Restoration Grant Program. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Milford to make application to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Division of Forestry's Urban Canopy Restoration Grant Program. The funds utilized by the Urban Canopy Restoration Grant Program will be used by the city and plant trees on improve watershed health and erosion control on the Little Miami River, reduce the impact of stormwater runoff in certain areas of the community, establish and support a local tree care campaign, and promote local quality of life by providing clean air and climate initiatives. Adopted October 18th, 2022. Thank you, Mayor.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Ms. Russell,
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell.
Yes.
All right, the only other thing I thought of was just a reminder to the public that trick or treat will be Monday, October 31st from 6 to 8. So we'll end just in time to cheer on the Bengals. And I think the fire truck, Mr. Nichol, am I correct, will be here at City Hall? Yes. Right, and the police are always out in the neighborhoods, so make sure you look for them. So hopefully we'll have a nice night for that. So I don't think any other old business, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second?
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ms. Russell.
Yes.
All right, thank you.